Welcome back, everyone. Now we're going to do the weekly performance report. And I just did this entire video, and when I got to the bottom, I realized that I put in the wrong week for the, let me just show you this. I put in last week's this instead of my portfolio summary. I put in last week's instead of this week's, and I knew something didn't seem right because I saw that my Celsius position was up, I think it said like 6.5%. And I was like, no way. I even looked online to see how it performed this week because I knew it was kind of volatile. And I was like, 6.5%. I was like, my cost basis is in like 71 or 72. I was like, how is it only up 6.5%? And it's not like it's Grown Rogue or something that's thinly traded micro cap that has a large bid-ask spread. So I was like, well, it didn't make any sense. And then it dawned on me because I had a new position, which is Evolve Technology. And I was like, Evolve Technology's not on here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I put on the wrong one. So my apologies. So probably we'll run through this quicker instead of going on my typical side tangents since I have things to do and much of that time was taken up making a video I had to delete. So, noticeable activities over the last week. I bought the dip in A-Mark Precious Metal, ticker symbol AMRK, and I entered a new trade, a new position into Evolve Technologies, ticker symbol EVLV. So to sum this up, A-Mark Precious Metals came out with their earnings report. Their quarterly earnings, after hours, the stock dropped like 13%. Then by the next morning, it was down 16, 18%, something like that. I bought the dip on that. And then I entered a new position, a new trade. That's all I have to say on that. Like, whatever. It's A-Mark's range bound. Even though gold broke out, A-Mark seemingly can't break out. Not yet, at least. It looks like it might. Who knows? A lot of the fill the gap bros say it needs the gap filled. I'll be there to buy if it does. So I'm fine with that. If not, then it's going to break out and then a lot of people are going to chase it, I suspect, is what will happen there. I tweeted something about that, I believe, earlier this week. So I bought shares of Evolve Technologies. It's one of many SPAC darlings that cratered since the frenzy of 2021. They're an AI SaaS company, both as a security as a service, but as well as a software as a service. They're basically a fancier metal detector weapon detection scanner. Think of them as the weapons detection scanners of the 21st century with their AI technology and smooth, attractive looking appeal. They guided down on their 2024 fiscal year outlook in their latest earnings report. It then proceeded to close the day down 39%. With no profits and about 7 quarters of runway before their cash burn runs out, who knows how this will play out. I will note that they do have practically no debt. I'll also note that they're under investigation by the SEC and FTC, as well as pending lawsuits. But hey, why not take a stab at it? Pun intended. Did I get you? Are you laughing? Was that the funniest thing you heard this week? Anyway, on Twitter, I made this cheeky comment about them. Once you see that Evolve Technologies missed their 2024 SPAC pitch deck revenue target by roughly 70%, it makes more sense that the stock would be down 70%. And guess what? That's about where it is. Sprinkle on a penalty for depressed gross margins and delayed EBITDA, and you get to today's price. And these SPAC things, the projections, is amazing. So let me tell you this. Let's zoom in. Revenue. They projected $338 million of revenue for 2024. That was the estimate. And they're now guiding to 100. So that's roughly 70% less. Like, my God, how do you get it that bad? In 2023, they were guiding for 132. They're not even going to get that in 2024. And then 2022, they guided for 53. I can't tell you off the top of my head what it is. Now then, gross margin. They're expecting for 2024, 83%. Well, they're sitting at roughly 60%. Now, they might be at 80% if they were making $38 million, but they're not. So I mean, honestly, it's not, even after the 39% drop, as far as I'm concerned, it's not really like a steal. It's not like deep discount value. It's like, fair value. I mean, it's about right. $10 SPAC misses estimates by 70%. So it would make sense that the stock would roughly be down 70%. And they don't have a ton of debt or operating leverage in that sense. So therefore, it's not like it's down 95%. And they actually do have cash, and they're projecting to get to positive EBITDA. Right now, they're negative EBITDA by the second quarter of 2025. So they have about 7-month runway. See what happens. Dilute shareholders. Do they do this? Do they do that? Who knows? So either it's going to do one of two things. It's going to bounce from here from a stock trading perspective, because there's some resistance, if you will, at the 220 range. It's either going to bounce from here, or it's going to do the classic massive red bar one-day drop and then continue to bleed out for another 30 or 40%, which would then take it to roughly probably the all-time low of like $1.70 something. I'm not too committed to the name either way. You can chalk this one up to my first degenerate gamble of the year, which pretty accurate. Like, I have no edge. All I said was pretty much poor, insulting things about it, and that's fine. There's too much optimism. All these people with their optimism, unfounded optimism, just wishful thinking on coping fallacy and maladaptive coping mechanisms. It's like I say, it's what, fair value now? Like, okay. Like, it's not too exciting. I don't know why everyone's so excited. And you know, this is such a volatile name too, because this thing ran hard earlier in the year and just gave it all back. I think right now it's trading at, oh boy, like 3 times price to sales. Not too long ago, it was 6 times. Some point it was like 12 or, I think last year, it might have been last year, it was like 12 or 14 times EV to sales, price to sales. It's like, ugh. Don't know why. Like, how hard do they think it was going to run? I don't know, but now look, when it's all said and done, them and I can end up in the same position, which is losing all of our money if it falls, goes down 100%. It doesn't matter if they bought at 10 and I bought at 1. If it goes to 0, we both lose 100% invested. So that's always worth keeping in mind. So with that out of the way, don't have much going on or much to talk about. I ended the week up 0.4%, 40 basis points for those who want to feel fancy. And yeah, it's funny. Yeah. I was so confused about the Celsius holding too, and I just grabbed the wrong screenshot from the wrong week because I didn't update. It doesn't matter why, but I'm glad I caught it. Better late than never. I'm glad that there was an issue. This is important. There's small things that reveal themselves to you, and then if you pay attention, then you can address that and nip it in the bud. But if you don't, then it can get out of hand. So this is a beautiful example. When I put this together, before I sent the email out, which is something I did before I made this video, but before I sent the email out, I was like, man, the Celsius looks wrong. So I looked at Celsius. I knew there was a lot of volatility in a few names I owned this week. A-Mark Precious Metals for one, and then Celsius as well. Massive intraday gains that it was up 8% a couple of different days, I believe, and then it gave a lot of those gains back to close the day up 3% or 1%. And so I was like, oh, maybe all that volatility, I just got confused. So I went on Google, looked at it, saw that it was up, I think, 13% from lowish, not intraday low. But anyway, and I was like, and now I even put the little thing on the $72 price range and drug it to the close on Friday, and I think that's registered it up at like 12 or 13%, and that was off of a $74 cost basis. And I was like, man, my cost basis is 72. So then I thought to myself, well, maybe I added another share and don't remember. I was like, that's bad form, but okay. I was like, that's the only thing I know that would average my cost basis up. But then I published the piece, and then I made the video, my first run at this video, and then it was only at the end, I was like, something is just not right. And it was only when I then saw the lack of Evolve being on here that it all made sense. It all made sense. I also thought Valeris. I remember looking at Valeris, but I think I was up 2% last week. And then so now it's up 9%. Let's just look at this quickly. Did it go up that much? I mean, I really do not pay tons of attention on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. I find it best. It really wrecks my psyche. So yeah, it's up almost 7% on the week. So that would make sense. And I just thought Valeris, I thought Valeris had a good week. And it did, up 7% roughly. So I was like, 2%? I was like, man, that didn't add up either. But so this, you know, I like these moments. It's like if you're walking into your home and you see some shedded snake skin on the driveway, let's say, and then you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then you keep walking, and then bam, you get startled or bit by a snake in the grass by the door. It's like, well, maybe you should have started looking around as the signs were and clues. The world was manifesting to you in a way that was telling you that something was going on, that something has changed, but you ignored it. You were complacent. And then you get hit by the snake, metaphorically or literally. And I'm not going to go down some philosophical rabbit hole anymore, but it's really worth thinking about how small things manifest and then we ignore them. Or we kind of pay attention to them as I did and say, I don't know. And look, as a consequence, it's led me to talk about it for 5 or 10 minutes plus, so that's, we'll just call that wasted 10 minutes. And then it led me to make a video that took me 10 or 15 minutes that's in the garbage. So I wasted half an hour instead of really trying to figure it out, instead of just being dismissive. Like I said, anything up 15, 20%, down 15, 20% is all noise to me. So the fact that Celsius was up 6.5 instead of 16 and Valeris was up 2 instead of 9 it's just noise to me. And I bet you, I would almost guarantee that if I did not own Evolve and know that I was down on the position already, that I would have never known that I made this error. So with that out of the way, that's all I got to say. So thank you for watching, and until next time.